Hey, yes, Snackadoodles, welcome back a Doodles. My name's just Jack with no doodles, and today we're focusing on some drama in relationship advice, where apparently it's gay for a woman to be desiring you more than her, a flag of a relationship slowly being dipped into red dye, the fiancé who accuses you of being untrustworthy when they're caught being untrustworthy, and just many other ridiculous circumstances. But we're going to start off in true off my chest, with someone confessing their dating tactic that is, I'm sad to say, apparently really effective for them. So I'm curious about your points on this. I have been using AI for online dating opener ideas, and it's improved the response rate significantly. Here's my process for those curious. You can use ChatGPT, but I use an app a bit more catered to conversation starters, Fire Texts. I describe the context of the person I am messaging, focusing less on appearance, more on something less people will mention. I ask the AI to write a seductive opener, or a witty, casual pickup opener. Play around with the prompts. If the opener is too general, I start to add more about the person. You'd be surprised how well AI can come up with some positive reaction-inspiring openers. So that's the method, but it does ponder the question, does it actually work? Well, someone asking this, the OP responds, I do just fine, but thanks for your concern. I mean, it is a bit of a risk if you're someone who has the social skills that are like 2 out of 10 and you try to use an AI app that's like an 8 out of 10 in social skills. It's going to be pretty obvious in real life when they realize you're not as eloquent as you think. As mentioned in this comment, apparently there's an old post where a woman indicated a long initial text period where she absolutely became smitten with her new relationship's riveting conversations, his intelligence, knowledge on areas she was interested in, only to find him completely lacking in any of those areas when they finally met in real life. She got mentally chatbot catfished, and he ended up being a potato in the conversation department. Yeah, this is just a tinge sociopathic. But okay, is it though? I mean, it's also extremely shallow when you only swipe right based on the first appearance of the first photo you see of someone's profile. But arguably, that's also just because that's the way the apps are set up. Personally, I think this guy is just cutting through the fat of the tedious back and forth that is required on dating apps for you to actually develop some genuine opportunity to actually get to know each other. But through some comments, it seems that regardless, this isn't appreciated by people who will then have to deal with this sort of thing. Like, oh no, possibly getting matched with just bots? Welcome to online dating for most of men. For now, though, we'll move on to a story in relationship advice. It began just over the last month with a recent update today, and it has gotten a lot worse from this first story. My fiancé, 28 female, has admitted she isn't attracted anymore to me, 28 male, and is only with me for my family and assets. Yeah, starting out great. Hi all, really in need of advice. Me, 28 male, and my fiancé, 28 female, have been together for 5.5 years and engaged for half a year. She has managed to lose 2 stone whilst I struggle with my weight and yo-yo. I have stood by her through the most difficult times of her life, gave her a place in my family when hers pushed her away, and stood by her as anger issues welled to the surface. I persuaded her to try counseling and a psychologist, and she's had such fantastic improvement. She is the complete love of my life, and I have sacrificed so much for her with no regret. It's not been easy, but then again, when is love? Ah, the old realizing you're only with someone because you think you can't get any better kind of person. Truly the most flattering partner to be with. To cut to the chase, in the last 2 months, she has become increasingly distant, opting to go out with her friends until 3 a.m., has been messaging a guy she met in work, long messages ending in rows of kisses, and has rejected any attempts to be intimate. I have listed and pushed to spend more time with her, and I met with no's at each junction. I confronted her about a week ago, and on pushing and ultimately telling her how low, alone, and depressed I feel. She has admitted, though, that she is no longer attracted to me and doesn't feel that spark anymore. However, she doesn't want to leave me because of everything I offer. My family, my car, the house myself and my father are renovating for us to live in, etc. She claims she still loves me? Pfft, what? But honestly, I just feel worthless and broken. I feel used in that she is essentially dragging me along while figuring out what she wants from me to make this work. I love her to pieces, but my self-confidence is shattered. I'm not sure if I even trust that she still loves me and that she isn't at least emotionally cheating on me with this friend she messages. I've attempted to do all I can to compliment her, ask her to do things with me, look after her, etc., but she just always finds fault or disregards my effort completely. It feels like I'm trying to save our relationship and she just doesn't care. Is there anything I can even do at this point? I feel miserable and broken, but I love her and I just can't throw away the possibility of our future together. If we did break up, she would lose her home in my name, my family, our friends, and me. Though she completely disregards me as mentioned. I want to save our relationship, but how do I stop getting taken for a ride? Well, you usually get with someone because you share some common interests, or at least assimilate into having common interests. This is the kind of point in the relationship where you should establish that once again by having the same common interest as her, as in no longer having any love for her. Just try practicing that trait she clearly has. Of course, top comment at the time was saying, "Whatever you do, do not marry her. She's basically let it out of the bag that she wants the house. Ask yourself if all the hard work you and your dad are doing renovating it would feel good when she breaks your heart and takes it in the divorce." And there's your answer. Now, obviously, it seems rather cut and dry here, like, obviously, this is a dead relationship, but it's understandable that some people in this sort of circumstance, especially 5.5 years of being with someone, it's hard to just move on. Though some would suggest he do stay around with her for the sake of the rest of mankind. Dude, stay with her, man. Let the spineless man step on the grenade. Hopefully it takes her out of the dating pool for the rest of us. Yeah, good on you, OP. You're sacrificing your genuine happiness and livelihood for the sake of all other men out there not having to deal with her. So we hear nothing for a month, until just 14 hours ago. The OP returns with a new update on this situation. And look, you might have thought the spineless comment was a bit harsh. You're about to realize it's rather justified. I was cheated on by my ex-fiancé, and now she is asking me to do fertility tests for her. Hi all, this is a follow-up from my previous post. Since then, myself and my ex-fiancé have officially broken up after she admitted to sleeping with another guy. I've taken steps to sort my mental health again. She's now with her new man and flaunting their relationship on social media. I still can't bring myself to be angry over it. I'm just exhausted and trying to heal. Prior to the aforementioned situation, we were trying for a baby. However, we tried for 2 years and no luck. We got on the waiting list for IVF and IVA and started having our tests done. Mine came back fine, and so did hers. She's rang me today and saying that she chose to still go to our medical appointments, lied, and said we're still together in order to have more tests done. She, unfortunately, has polycystic ovaries. Oh, that's terrible. Here's a soundboard clip for that. Oh, no, not that one. Whoopsies. Ooh. How did that one get there? She's asked me to proceed with lying that we're together until she's had all her tests so she then knows if she can be a mother or not. My head and heart are torn. I feel for her situation, but ultimately, she's forcing me to face the future we almost had together and isn't allowing me to heal and move on. I want to help her, but I want to help myself to heal by potentially cutting her off from contacting me. I just don't know what to do. Any advice? If she tells her doctor the truth, would they still continue doing tests without needing me? Do I choose to be a complete duck and shut this down? It's the NHS we're using as we're based in the UK. Thanks all. Oh gee, I wonder what people think. Is this woman worthy of redemption like this? Well, surprisingly, a lot of people actually don't think that she's innocent at all. No, of course not. Block all communications, get on with healing, you don't owe her schmidt. As some other question, couldn't she just restart the process with the new guy? But apparently, according to word of mouth, yes, but it would mean going back to the waiting list, which can take a year, or maybe even more, to just be seen. Oh no, consequences! Thankfully, it seems the OP does get the message, as they make an edit. Thank you all for your kind words and harsh truths. Honestly, you're all right in saying that I've lost respect for myself over the years of this relationship that I shared with her. I sacrificed my energy, my time, and my emotions to keep her happy and work on our relationship, but ultimately, she spat all over it. I'm going to tell her no, and I'll keep working on finding my respect again. Thank you everyone for helping me realize this. Hopefully, this is the last post you see from me on this. Over to our next story where, according to this man, if you are a woman and you want your partner, you can't tell him. You must just sit there and wait. My husband, 31 male, told me, 26 female, not to initiate intimacy with him because it's masculine. How dare you as a woman want something? You're hungry? But men get hungry. You can't do that. My tiny little world and my tiny little brain. Oh, it hurts. I have been married to my husband since September 2022, and before that, we dated for well over a year. As strange as this sounds, he's probably the only partner that I have been in a relationship with where I really enjoy intimacy. Due to the fact that my ex-boyfriends were pretty bad at it, I never used to go out of my way to initiate with them. But now, I have found myself wanting it with my husband. Something really strange happened yesterday evening, though. We were both just relaxing on the couch, and when I tried to cuddle or initiate, he randomly said, "Can you stop being masculine and trying to frick me?" This totally caught me off guard, so I got off of him and asked him what the hell he was talking about. He further explained that I make him feel weird when I am the one who initiates it, because that decision should be up to him. He's quite conservative. Oh, there you go. And more fundamentally religious than I am, so I don't know if that's possibly related to the reason why he has reacted this way, because honestly, it's just bizarre. In my previous relationships, my ex-boyfriends would be the ones to initiate with me, and sometimes I would reject them, but now it's completely reversed. I felt horrible ever since he said this, and now I don't even want to be around him. It's also made me feel somewhat insecure about myself, which has never happened before because I know that I'm attractive, but now, I almost feel ashamed of myself. Nothing even similar to this has ever happened to me before, so how do I move forward from here on out? Now, look, based on this final paragraph, I just have to say the best advice you can get is from any recently 18-year-old male who tries to say hello at a nightclub. Like... Got rejected for wanting a bit of fun? Welcome to the club. Obviously, though, this is a far more different circumstance. I mean, imagine having a wonderful partner who you seem to gel really well with, and then, like I say this from a guy's perspective, imagine if she just says to you, "Can you stop being so feminine when we do stuff together?" Like, oh man. And here I thought I'd need to pay for a smash room to get that sort of shattering experience. Fellas, is it gay to have sex with your wife? Better yet, is it gay if your wife to want to sleep with you? Well, yeah, it's gay because she's trying to sleep with a man. And even based on his argument that like it's only the men who get to decide on intimacy, as this comment says, it worries me to think how he'd react if or when she's not in the mood. Those types tend to think it's their right to have access to their wife's body regardless of what she says. Now let's be real here, it's got nothing to do with him being conservative or more religious. It's the fact of this comment here, like it's one thing to say I'm not in the mood, but what he said was flat out sexist and controlling. I'm an old married man, and even I know that women are allowed to want that stuff too. His attitude is a little disturbing, to be honest. Anyway, it's fair to say this is a bit of a lost cause, so let's move on to the next story. My 26 female girlfriend won't come over because I, 28 male, didn't give her money. So me and my girlfriend aren't perfect. Oh, that's a great start. But we're good, I think. Well, that's an even better start. We've been dating for 3 years. We do not live together. I own a home. She has a great apartment arrangement. She recently went on a trip with her family and she doesn't fly. So the day before, I paid $100 in Uber and more in food to comfort her, and then off she went. Her flight was delayed and I was texting her the whole time. She ended up staying in a hotel for a night. She met a couple, they hung out, and she said she enjoyed the day. She landed last Wednesday afternoon, and we had plans to see each other this weekend. We live 30 minutes and tolls away. She's had a little attitude with me. She asked why I didn't call her in the hotel, why I didn't check to see if the couple were trying to do some weird stuff, why I didn't do this or that. I was just like, I apologize. I thought you would call me. You were on vacation. I'm not sure when you're free or not. But my apology and explanation was kind of just met with, whatever. But I feel like I was reasonable. It was a miscommunication, clearly. She now says she spent a little too much on her trip and she needs $200. I asked her if this was a loan and she said, not a loan, some money. Ugh, for your girlfriend. I explained I wouldn't mind loaning her for a long time, but no, she insists it must be a gift of $200. I said I don't feel comfortable giving out $200. It's just not something I do. I make a lot, but I explained I wouldn't mind spending money on her together, but I'm not a piggy bank. My exact words were, I don't even know if I'm seeing you tomorrow. Why not ask in person? I don't want to feel used. I would have given her the money, but I feel like she's weaponizing my feelings for her. And the fact I haven't seen her for 3 weeks, I'm pretty upset right now and half ready to break up because I feel manipulated. Please, any additional info you need, I don't want to paint her as the bad guy. And additional info people asked. You spent $100 on her, now she asks for $200. If you give in, can you guess what will happen next time she needs more money? She just calls her personal bank, aka you. I wouldn't even trust her if she agrees it's a loan. She is trying to manipulate. She's waiting for you to break first. Next time she doesn't get what she wants, she will start with the silent treatment again. She's showing you her true form. Take note and run. Yeah, she should want to see you after 3 weeks. With all this said, it seems the OP is willing to confront her over the phone later in the evening or tomorrow, so we'll see how things go then. Until now, we'll just keep our ears posted. Over to some suspicious situations now. I, 25 female, believe my boyfriend, 23 male, has a crush on my 50-year-old mother. I have never had this feeling before. My boyfriend and I live in a different state from my family, and this was the first time I visited home with him. A couple of comments and interactions have made me suspicious. My mother is quite excitable, loud, and energetic. I'm the opposite. She typically demands or draws attention to herself and acts dorky. I'm not completely sure how to describe it, but my boyfriend called her adorable, which is typically what he calls me. She energetically plays with my son, and my boyfriend will watch them with a big, loving smile. I noticed he jumps up whenever she needs or wants anything and has been giving my attitude this whole trip. He barely said a word to me during the car ride from the lake house to my mother's main residence, but immediately started chatting up my mother when we stepped inside. I feel hurt and uncomfortable right now, and I'm not sure how to approach it. I jokingly said he had a crush on my mother, and he said, "That's gross, never say that again." Okay, serious much? It's not unbelievable. My mother looks quite young for her age and is beautiful. I just hate not knowing how he truly feels. I don't have the best relationship with my mother, and I almost feel betrayed that he might not dislike her as I do. She was a terrible mother to me and is almost treating my son as her redo. I was raised by my grandparents because my mother was out partying all the time. How do I approach this situation? Am I being loco? Ooh, yeah, a bit to unpack with this one. On one hand, okay, yeah, maybe the way he reacted was a bit suspicious. But also from the second half of this story, it's like, okay, it sounds like you have just a huge, already preset vendetta against your mother. Like, I would not be surprised if he's just genuinely nice and happy around her. Important question to ask, is your name Stacy? Because that might be why your mum's got it going on. Diving into it though, how's his relationship with his own mother? My mum died when I was 11. It screwed me up, and now I kind of latch onto maternal people. He might see her as a surrogate for his own mum, which is also why he got serious when you joked about him having a crush on her. Now, the OP doesn't respond to that, but it is interesting, a point to make. Honestly, I think there's so many other valid reasons as to why he's being so nice to the mother here, and not just because he wants to bang her. But I don't know, what do you think? You think she's justified to be suspicious, or she's just projecting things far more stronger than even a cinema could achieve? Next crazy circumstance, I found out my fiance has been texting with a coworker who is clearly hitting on her and wanting to sleep with her. She only stood up to him when I found out. I'm 44 male and my fiance, 34 female, have been together for 3+ years. It hasn't always been an easy road with a newborn and all, but nonetheless pretty great. After 2 years off work, COVID and baby, she got a new job. And as in most jobs today, you have coworkers who share numbers and talk about work via text. Pretty standard stuff. However, I was noticing a pattern at home, and my gut didn't like it. After about a month of questioning myself, I had to confront her. I asked permission to see her phone. She unlocked it and gave it to me. I went into her text messages and saw she's been having a conversation with a guy from work, but something was off. I first noticed his contact name didn't have her work designation at the end of his name. Everyone else in her messages were labeled with a work designation. Secondly, he was clearly hitting on her, wanting to sleep with her, and sowing seeds of doubt to her about me. Saying multiple things like, "Do you really have to ask permission to hang out at lunch? You want to come upstairs and smash?" A large group of guys play Super Smash Bros. During lunch. They both knew what he was saying. I went into her deleted texts, and there were 46 texts deleted from him. One of those included his address, and many of them were inappropriate. None of their texts were about work. I have absolutely no way to know what was being said face face to face, and that's painful. There was an event he invited a group of coworkers to, but only my fiance and one other woman from work showed up. There was drinking at said event, and turns out she and her friend went to his house afterwards for more drinking. I was at home with the baby and asleep. She texted me late that night saying that she was staying with her friend that night, and I didn't think anything about it. This was all before the odd behavior at home and my gut kicking in. After finding out a month later and confronting her about this, she tells me he's a short, red-headed troll creep and nothing happened. She says she didn't cheat on me and didn't stay at his house. I have to believe those are true. I know she didn't stay at his house based on some other texts between her and her friend. She says she deleted those texts because she was embarrassed, but many of their interactions weren't deleted. The texting continued until I found out. I asked for her to put a stop to this, but she would only do that face-to-face with him and not via text. She told me she put a stop to this, but I have no way of knowing exactly what was said. She has since changed her passwords, notifications, and keeps her phone on her at all times. She says she can't trust me now. Now that there is some backstory, I need help on how to handle this from here. I've talked with her too much on this, and she gets so defensive and turns the situation around on me. I know that's classic gaslighting, and I am stuck on what to do from here. I go home and do my best to put on a good face and play everything is fine, but I feel there was emotional infidelity, betrayal, and now I am in grief. I know she loves me and our new family. I just can't figure out how or why she would do that. Because she's been stuck at home with a baby for 2 years, and now she's finally out, and here comes a man willing to kind of give her a bit of excitement. I'm not saying that all women are like this, of course, just this person's personal circumstances clearly seem to seed that. I mean, come on, as the comments say, what, she's going to talk about it face to face, not over text, where you can't be aware of what's going on and what she said? Hey, my husband found out about us talking, so now we have to find another way to communicate. How about we have the Smex talk for work and be professional off work? Hey man, get an x-ray of your back and see if you got a bone there. Far out. Hey OP, I have 1,000 acres of oceanfront property right in the middle of Colorado waiting to be sold. If you believe her, then you are the perfect buyer. Look, I don't know how to really twist the situation to make her seem a bit more innocent, but like, yeah, you caught her and yet you're the one being blamed in all this. In an interesting way to call her bluff, you should have asked her to report this to HR, and your fiancé should have told HR that she was being harassed by this man. After all, if, you know, she is clearly uncomfortable as she admits to being allegedly, she should have no problem wanting to get this resolved and make sure he never does it again. But anyway, this story is less than a day old, so hopefully we got a decent update some point in the future so we can know if this man made the right choice. Hopefully they do. Dear God, I hope they do. For now though, that is the end of today's video. Thank you as always for watching. Until next time, love your face. See you then, be good, don't do bad things like, you know, not subscribe, because that's a bad thing. That'll get you in jail out here, apparently, definitely. Yep. Drink water as well, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.